Well, okay. Hi, everyone. Shane here, and on behalf of the iMoot team, just want to welcome you all to this session. Hope you've been enjoying the iMoot so far, wherever you are and whenever you are, whatever time it is. In this session, my great pleasure to introduce Gareth, who is, I don't know how to describe you. You've got many hats, but yeah, he's been involved in Moodle for a long time, certainly very knowledgeable in Moodle. And very much involved in the theme development of Moodle. So Gareth, really appreciate your time today for sharing with us, and look forward to this presentation. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you, Shane. What I'll do, guys, is you see my t-shirt there. I'm just going to turn my webcam off, then hopefully the audio will work better for everybody. Okay, first of all, so welcome. We're going to talk about themes and more. So we're going to cover these things here. So a little bit of admin, trademark, introduction. We're going to talk about the free themes that are available on Moodle.org, and critically their features and their components, what makes them up. A quick look at my theme selector block, which allows you to switch through them. How course formats fit in the picture, sort of a misconception that the whole Moodle screen is just the theme. Can have a look at making some very simple changes that fit things. We're going to talk about from A to B, how and what it's like to be a programmer, and how you can think about becoming a programmer, and how you need to be sort of dedicated, and the things and the skills and things you need to look at. I'm going to talk about the forthcoming Moodle Bites theme level 1 design course that I'm going to be facilitating with HRDNZ, and a bit about that. And that's a brand new course that's starting soon. So I'm going to talk about the future, what I think, or my sort of personal opinions about the future, where I think things are going, where they could be going, where right or wrong, bit of references, a little summary, and then a chance for you to ask questions and vote on the components I'm going to show you and features in the free themes, sort of think about things in a different way. Okay, just quickly, trademarks. I'm independent from all the people listed above, and I'm no way speaking for and endorsed by them. Okay, so there is a wealth of themes out there for Moodle. Each has got its own style, functionality, and components. We will look at them and look at how course formats play in them. So you can break themes down into different bits of functionality and components, and think about, how can it move from one to the other. That's me. I'm a themes and course formats developer. I'm the themes and course format moderator, developer, and software educator. I've been doing Moodle for, this is the 10th iMoot, so 8 years. Longer than that, ages and ages. Started when I was teaching, but I was a teacher for ICT for 7 years, and before that, a software engineer. So I've sort of gone full circle, and now doing full-time software development, mainly Moodle. So I have a teacher hat and I have a developer hat. That sort of really helps me look at different things in different ways. So, free themes and their features. So they do have different looks, depending on what you write. They do have different features. Features can be transposed through the thing. Everyone looks at a thing and think, no, that's the way it is. It won't work in this, but the code can be moved. And also consider a theme is just a look. It's not the complete solution. Everyone think, that problem's the thing. No, it isn't. Garbage in, garbage out. If you put rubbish into Moodle, you'll get rubbish out of Moodle. And a lot of it is other content and blocks and reports and activities. So if you put bad stuff in there, a theme is only going to present what you've put in. All the themes I'm going to show you are available on Moodle.org, and that does have a price. Even though they're free, there's a cost to this in terms of other things. In terms of time, you do get the code and you can modify it, so that's beautiful. So you're not stuck that, if I got run over by a bus or something like that, then that's it. You've lost it forever, and you can then go and get other people to go modify it if you need it, or modify it yourself. But they don't come with any support. The beauty of GPL version 3 and the other open source licenses is that there is no liability on the developer. However, you don't get any support. There don't have to be any provided. It is provided as is. So you do have to ask the developer, do they provide extra support, or go somewhere else? So, or do it yourself. So there's a pitfall there. And there's also uncertain future. A lot of the free themes developers are putting on there because they've written something and just chucking it out there and giving you say, oh yes, see what you think, or they're doing it to the client. That funding might be withdrawn at any moment, so that is uncertain. So there is that sort of price element risk involved. So like everything in life, there's sort of a swings and roundabouts. Okay. So first we're going to look at Boost. Brand new core theme introduced in Moodle version 3.2. I don't think there's any plans to backport it any further. It's based on Bootstrap framework version 4 Alpha. Alpha sort of really scared me. I thought, why are they taking all these risks? And I personally, I think it's a big risk, and perhaps when I think with Boost itself, a lot of it could have been done in previous versions of the Bootstrap framework. Bootstrap framework, by the way, if you don't understand what it or know what it is, it's just a extra-like template thing that other people have developed, which then reduces the amount of work that you have to do because you can pick and choose and pick components. It's like those old sort of stencils when you had when you're young, we could just draw shapes and stuff like that. So, like, actually, like here, you can do shapes in blue button, and it just cuts them out. So rather than drawing a triangle or a square or a circle, you get a template and it'll just do it. So it has a new thing called flat navigation. This different block here. So they've really had a thought about the user interface and how it changes and how it improved, and to reduce the clutter, which is great because Moodle, a lot of comments says it is cluttered, it's very flexible, and you don't have to follow a given workflow. But on the flip side, I think the page can be quite confusing. So they've made a really good attempt at trying to reduce this. But coming to it fresh, you think, oh, great. But making the transition has been a bit difficult. And I think there's a lot of people who do think, oh, I'm not quite sure about that. I want to stick with something else. But it is progression, and it's moving things forward. So good on them for taking the chance. I just hope it pulls up and works out given the alpha stage here. Actions, and it has a thing called presets. So presets are files you can download, load them up, and it just changes the look and feel, and the color scheme and a few other things, without you having to worry about settings, without you having to worry about code, without the fear of changing anything really under the hood. Really neat idea. There's a reference there if you'd like to go and follow that. I will put loads of links and stuff in the course afterwards, so it'll be there for you guys. Okay. Fortson. So this is made by Chris Kennyberg, and he's concentrated on making a real difference on the navigation. It is a child of Boost, so it's taken everything they've done there and really done something different and thought about it. And I love the way they've thought about the course management here, done tabs, hidden stuff away that you don't need all that often, but you need them available but not available, if that makes sense. Not on the screen all the time, but there if you really, really need them. And they've concentrated on making sort of a navigation drawer, and it has presets as well, like Boost, so you can change those colours and stuff. I think a gentleman called Richard Ullman has helped out a little bit on that, I believe. So it's different design. I really love the way it really looks very modern to me. So yeah, it's cool. And so forth. So Campus, excuse me, one of my themes, different. It's created it for a client of mine, concentrated really on customizing the header, the color, with lots of options for the banner you see, or rather the header you see here, and really different to other things. I think it has one of the first ones I've done that has like a front page, separate front page banner, and a separate one you could set up for each different course category. So if you've got a large organization and you want to have a different header to distinguish one department from another department, or one sector or area from another area or division, great way of doing it. it is responsive, I should say. So there's, it will shrink and compress and expand, and you can have a logo section. The logo you upload there is separate to the logo area, logo there. So there's two different bits, and they can expand and contract, and they all work themselves out. So really unique in that sense. I also put in a category carousel, I should say. So at the top of each category, you can have a carousel with different slides and stuff. And often you only get carousel sliders on the front page, and that's it. Boom. It has got a front page carousel as well. But different, just another way of doing things, and going through lovely colours, loads of colours you can change, loads of different fonts you can change. Do have a look at it, and you can see that, and also rounded borders and stuff like that you can also change. So decaf, one of the older themes. I don't have much to say about it, but I really like it. It's sort of simple, elegant. It is responsive. It wasn't, but then sort of responsive came in. There's a thing called feathered. So just that one there. Yeah, feathering means it sort of all merges into itself. And a lot of now the modern sites, they don't bother with borders. They don't bother with anything to break things up. They like to make it like a sheet of paper, and you look at it, and you just sort of pop there what you need. And they've really concentrated on that. That's what I like about it. But it makes it that plain, simple, all meshing together. You can't really tell where the blocks start and end. That's great. So it's more about the content and making things blend into each other. So you just got there what you need. Has a great thing called Awesome Bar, which is a big drop-down menu, like so there, and hides things away. A lot of the settings and stuff you don't need, so maybe we didn't need the administration block, which would be below there, and it's all there in one big go. I don't think it works so well on mobiles because it's going to be quite unwieldy, but for desktops I found it to be quite very good, and it just hides all that extra information that you don't need all the time. Okay, Essential. Originally written by Julian Ridden, now taken over by myself and a gentleman called David, who David then left, and I've been now modifying it for years and years, or it seems ages. But I've tried to keep what essentially Julian, pardon the pun, kept in terms of the style. So I've kept on the look and feel, all the style and everything. I've concentrated on adding extra functionality to it and settings to it, rather than changing the way it looks and keeping it the way that people love it. So I put in a course content search. There was already FitVids there. FitVids is just a little option which allows you to then have your videos expand and contract and be more responsive and fill the screen. It's got color, it's got layouts from left to right, analytics, category icons and images. I've added category course title images, and that's things where at the top of each course page you can have a image in terms of where the course title is. Check it out, the thing. Or you can override that in the course. Something great, bit of functionality that was funded. That was great. Please look at the README for that. And just sort of jazzes up the course page. It's got a slideshow. It's got marketing spots, alerts, horizontal block areas, which is something I've poached for my other things. So instead of having the blocks vertically, you can arrange some block areas horizontally, which is like sort of that, which is really great for things like the grading screens, the stuff when you've got massive tables and you really need the whole width of the screen in order to be able to use it properly. I did a excuse me, returned a thing called a return to section button. So when you click on an activity, you'll go back to the section in the course, because aid with a bit of navigation, and a thing called property transfer. I saw something that Justin Hunt had done with Poodle. I thought, oh, that's great. So took the idea, and had a look at his code, which he kindly gave to me and passed it on. I thought, oh, this is great, and it sort of tied in with an idea I'd had for ages as well, and sort of showed me how he could do what the idea I already had. And that means that you've got loads and loads and loads of settings. So maybe you have a demo site or a test site, and you configured essentially it's looking gorgeous the way you want it, but there's so many settings, it's a nightmare, and you've got to copy paste back and forth to your production site. This, you can export most of the properties, take it as a file or piece of text, and go to your other site, paste it in, and it sets them all up for you. It won't do any of the files, so none of the images or uploaded files won't work, and that's just a limitation of the technology. But all the colors, all the words, so forth, all coupled across, saves you an awful lot of aggro, and also represents a good another form of backup. I do like lots more added all the time as people come to me and finance, for which I'm grateful, extra additions. So great, it's still there. There is a Moodle 3.3 version in beta now, and I am working on, as promised from the crowdfunding campaign, to improve it and to put it onto stable. And I continue to no plans to drop it because it's still great theme and it's still there. I mean, personally, I think it's starting a little bit dated, but it's familiar, it works, and it's got loads and loads of features. So, FlexiBase, Richard Allman. And well, it's the Bootstrap version 3 theme, so different. But I looked at it, I thought, wow, this is different. It's got a sort of wide range of block regions. You can see, let's draw something there. So you've got a sort of layout manager idea there going on, really different. Hadn't seen that before. Well, I've got another theme I'll show them in have. With Shoelace has got it, and we had a little chat at the time about it. But I think the only two things you can actually change the layout dynamically like that. I mean, there might be others now. And he's gone for a pocket box, and he's really thought he's got a really nice bold look and tab layout for the settings, and a different impact, a different way of looking at things. So good, and a way sort of think about taking blocks off the screen, and again reducing the content of the screen down to what you need. Okay, and different layouts. Shoelace, one of mine. Excuse me. I started a very simple thing. I've tried to keep it that way. I want it to be crisp, clean, easy, and use it twofold. A, it's straightforward, and B, that I can evolve it quickly and embrace new technologies as they come out without having to spend hours and hours and hours repeating the same sort of idea and skill. I've really evolved it over time. If I did what I've done to this, essentially it would take me weeks and weeks and weeks to do. So it's crisp features, got a few things that you need, like color settings and a front page slideshow. Key feature is layouts, which I'll come into a second, and it does allow custom CSS. But I looked at some business websites. I thought, oh, what do they look like these days? And they've gone, everything these days have gone sort of full circle, and gone from sort of rounded borders to square borders. It's all gone a bit blocky. That seems to be the style these days, so I made it like that. Another thing I'm thinking of the future is making that feathered. Well, we saw the decaf theme, of maybe trying to reduce it so you don't have this sharp edge here, and feather that in and have a different sort of look, and just have one click button where you can click it and it does it automatically, and all the other settings go ding, and it just works. Okay. I did looked at WordPress a couple of years ago, and they did have a thing called layouts where you can then move areas and blocks. Now, and previously, if you wanted to do this in any other theme, maybe apart from Richard Allman, so I think it did at the same time, you would have to change the code. Scary. Maybe even if you know how to change the code, maybe your environment doesn't allow you to do that. So I rewrote Shoelace to use moustache templates and had a sort of a light bulb moment. I thought, I can use this technology for this. What happens is it allows you to dynamically set the block region. So everything, oh, we have the blocks on the left, the blocks on the right, 2 on the left, 1 underneath, to, one on the left, one on the right, one underneath, one above, below, blah blah blah, and you'd have to previously go back and change the code. Here you just use radio button. So for the base layout, which is the main one, standard layout, course layout, of course, the in-course, there's category 1, in-course layout is the one we see when you click on an activity or resource. So you can make it different for each one and for the front page as well. So you just click on that, click on the settings at the bottom, and it just works. You don't have to change a whole line of code at all. If you've got blocks in the left and the right region, and there's only got a left region, it will combine them so that the left appear first, imagine, and the right underneath it. So imagine these are in the left, and we move to left only from a left only to right only, and these are the right, and they will just combine into one seamlessly, so like so. So neat, different, all user interface rather than, say, code editing. Another feature which I ported from my shoehorn thing, which isn't here, which I sort of discontinued for the minute. Alex Gorcheff's syntax highlighter. So a couple of years ago, Raspberry Pi's taking off, still is taking off. I thought, oh, what if educators want to talk about code and get code going in the UK? There's a big drive to get youngsters learning code and of all genders, and improving and making another buzz that was in the 80s and getting that again happening now, because that was sort of died down a bit and now everyone coming back. So I thought, what if you wanted to teach coding and software? So excuse me, how would you do it? Well, in that case, you need a highlighter to tidy things up like so. So rather than looking at boring old code, so I took that and ported it to it. So it's free, you can do it, and I just put that into the theme there, and but it does take a bit of processing power to when it starts up. So I made it only for a certain category. So maybe you punch all your IT courses in a certain category, and it'll only apply to those. It won't apply to other categories. So only actually work on the courses that you need it to work on. Okay, Snapfini. So really different. Currently available for Moodle 3.1. I believe a version is coming out very soon for Moodle 3.2. Really different. It's guided. So it's been written for a very specific way. Now, other LMSs may guide you and they force a workflow, and some people love that, some people hate that. And the great thing about Moodle is it doesn't force a workflow on you if you don't want it to. But this sort of does in a certain way, but it's starting to hide things away and trying to guide you through doing the basic things you want to do, which is really quite nice. And they've bunched everything on the sort of a My Courses menu up here. And that drops down and comes with quite big loads of information on there. So they've really thought about how the users use it and the workflows and the use cases. It also has a thing called course cards. So you can't see it in the screenshots here, but when you go into list of your courses and you just see you have sort of text, block after block after block with text, and they've actually broken it down. So you've got a course card which just has a picture, information, so forth, and breaks it down to what you need it. Really neat, really nice, worth going to a more information site to have a look at it there. Time plenty. Right, lastly, or rather that was the three things we're covering. So all the different components. So I wrote this mainly for developers and for myself to be able to move between themes. But if you've got a demo site or you're trying things out or you've got a test site and you're trying to convince the powers that be of, oh, this theme is better than this theme, and you want to compare, contrast, and so instead of making a presentation, you can then use this to quickly switch between themes and compare things and be more dynamic. So it's great development. It's great for showing off the different things and comparing them. Just a little block, install it, make it alright, and you just click on it and move theme to theme to theme. And yeah, great for experimenting if you want to see of, oh, wonder how this looks in this theme, wonder how that looks in this theme, or whatever the content looks in each one. That's free also on Moodle.org, and I will put a link in the course. Right, course formats. A lot of confusion gets between what a course format is and where it fits in the picture of themes. Now, most people make the mistake that they think everything within the window is generated by the theme. It isn't. The theme is only styling, so the main area, and applying a lot of things within the main screen. Some of the styles then come from the block there, even though it can be manipulated by the screen, the theme. But this whole area within the content area there is controlled by the course format. It's responsible for the style, even though the theme can override it and change it. But the layout there, we've got collapsed topics. The layout, the structure is controlled by the course format. So if you are reporting an issue and you want to go to the themes forum and says, oh, maybe think about posting it in the courses and course formats forum instead. Whereas themes apply a corporate style across the whole site, a course format is there more for the educator to arrange their course in the structure that they need for the content that you are putting on. So like a real teacher in a classroom, when I taught IT, I'll go into a classroom and I'll rearrange all the chairs for a particular lesson to suit the content being delivered by myself. And that's what a course format does for you. It is theme independent. So you change another one, it will still have its sort of styles and colors. There you can see collapsed topics. So the gray bit of the toggle will still be the same. That colors configured within its collapsed topics itself are not the theme. And so forth. So I think I covered everything yet, and it's great because it does provide that separation between the theme, style, which is the organization base, and you, the educator. So, making simple changes. So, often you go to a theme developer or themes forum and say, oh, I want this, but you, as an administrator, or a teacher via your administrator, or you can even try it on your demo site or test site, which I'll come on to in a minute or two, can make simple changes. You can start to learn to make a bit of CSS and change, because most themes have a custom CSS button, which allows you to do that. So and you can use that to then via the thing called the browser development tools. So you press F12 on most browsers, they pop up and you can learn to use that and you can manipulate what's on the screen. Now it's only done locally, so it's only changing the web page you've got there. Don't worry, it doesn't affect the actual code, the actual page on the server. Nobody else will see what you're doing on here unless they're actually looking at sitting next to you, looking at your screen or your screen recording or something like that. So it's really, really good. You can muck around with it. You can try things out. You can learn CSS. You can learn about the structure of HTML and make changes. So what, for example, what if we wanted our title there, our title, to be italic? How would we go and do about that? Well, we'd use the browser development tools. We'd have a bit of investigation. We'd play around. You can try things out. If we can find the style that applies to, you can look in W3 Schools. You can look on the Google the Web and find out what CSS attributes are available there. You can maybe done a CSS course and think, oh, how can I try out my new skills, try them out here, see what's works. And in this case, it's a matter of changing the font style to italic, like that. So that can be done, and there I've actually put the selector, worked it all out. Once you've worked it out on here and you tried it and think, yeah, that's the look I want, that's great, you then can just copy that code from there, reduce it down to your changes only, go off to the custom CSS box of the theme where most of them said have them, paste it in, save it, it gets stored actually in the database and not actually within a theme file, saved, boom, and it's there, and it's then all, everywhere that it does apply, it will then be live. So really good to have a fun, really good to make very, very simple, straightforward changes to your theme without actually getting someone else. And sort of allows you to make a different look and customize the theme to the way that you work, the way that your educators learn, and a bit of sort of personalization to make it more responsible, sorry, not responsible, yeah, personalized and tailored to you. Personalized learning, that's what I was going through, mate. So, getting from A to B. Now, a lot of people think programming is easy. It's not, but don't let that put you off. Programming is harder than it looks. Everything, oh, just make this. A lot of people says, oh, how do you make this? Just make this happen. And I go, huh? And I go away and I think, oh, crumbs, quote me for this. And I'll have to take, it might take me half an hour. It might take me half a day to work something out, just to be able to understand how long it's going to take me to do the whole solution. So it does take a combination of skills, language knowledge, Moodle knowledge, especially for themes and blocks and stuff, design, problem solving. It does need dedication, perseverance, and determination. It's like climbing a mountain. Most of the time when you're climbing a mountain, you think you can't see, why am I doing this? Why am I putting myself through all this aggro and effort? But as soon as you eventually get to the top, you realise when you look at the view that it's actually was so worthwhile doing, and that you really have a sense of achievement. The same is true with programming. You really have to persevere at it and be determined. So my perspective on it to get into programming and to get into making changes and things and stuff is you need to understand how you learn. Seek out material and search for it on the web that's in that format that you understand. Talk to people and break your problem down into small steps that comprise of one little problem. When I look at a big problem, I think, oh, crumbs, what do I need to be able to solve that? Big problems can be very overwhelming and put you off. So if you break it down to the small steps, it then doesn't become so hard, just like other programming problem-solving skills in life. Solve, and after you've done that, you want to solve each problem. So if I look at the big problem and think, right, I need to do that problem actually comprises of 7 different things. I know how to do 6 of them, but the 7th I don't. So I'll then go off and try and learn that 7th thing, maybe write a small little program or a bit of test code, so I can be confident that I know how to do all the tricky bits and of the whole problem before I go in and write all of the code in one go, and not rather get in the end and realizing, oh, crumbs, there's something I've missed, and it takes hours and hours. You can break the problem down into one little bit, into its little bits, and do each bit very quickly without actually spending hours and hours and hours writing the whole solution. So because it is harder, start small and gain confidence. Start on a really small problem, like that proves on the previous slide. Yeah, think about just making that italic. It sounds really trivial, but you can see I spent quite a few minutes explaining that. So think of the things like that for you to then be able to start small, gain confidence in what you're doing. Do have a goal, be sure, and know what the outcome is. So it sort of maps into design there. So you know what you want, know what you want to do, and know what the outcome is. Yeah, fine. Right, advertising advertisement for Moodle Bites theme design level 1. So it's a brand new course. Beyond Moodle Bites coming soon. It's aimed at learners who are interested in with the thing development but don't have a background development, so a little bit of PHP stuff. But I cover all the basics, all the way going up to actually cloning things, making changes to things. But I also cover things that are not really Moodle, like a bit of PHP, CSS, the browser development tools I showed a couple of slides back, so forth. It is guided to get you from that A to B, my previous slide. I am the lead facilitator, and there's a promotion page just there. Okay, the future. This is what I was thinking of, what the thoughts I had. Where things are going. One word, WordPress. WordPress is much bigger than Moodle in terms of probably users and stuff like that, but it's smaller in terms of just blogging and that. But it has a really clean user interface. It concentrates a lot of the admin behind the scenes and is different. I think Moodle could learn a lot from it in terms of decluttering everything that is on the screen. Even though Moodle is a different sort of perspective and there's a lot more powerful and functionality because it's trying to solve a different problem. I think it could, Moodle, be more modular with some transposable functionality. So I mean, a lot of the themes, you can't move from one functionality but a component to another easily. Perhaps they could. You can have child themes, but maybe components like sliders, you could take one from one theme to another theme and just plug and play. Boom. Rather than actually being far harder and leading quite a reasonable amount of coding to be able to move one to the other. I think it could be flexible, so not going back to the point I made about the Snap theme and workflows, still keep with that, but maybe again reduce the clutter but keep its flexibility, which is I think is a real good sort of selling point and why people love Moodle, is because it doesn't force you down a certain route. It does need to reduce the duplication. So another thing previously, sorry, go back, yeah, reduce the duplication. So yeah, all the, again, clutter on the screen. There's off on the screen you'll see a few loads of places where it do exactly the same thing. Okay, moving on, totally different element. It could be 3D discovery. So ages ago, by some microsystems, before they went bust, which is sad, missed them. The thing called Project Looking Glass, which is a link there, and their whole idea was a 3D desktop environment. You can download it, you can try it all out and try the operating system. And it had windows and everything. You'd move around the screen and the background would then change as almost as if you're there. So it would hide things away to the corners that you don't need and then only bring to the foreground what you were concentrating on. Just like in real life, you move around rooms, you move around outside, and you're only got in front of you what you need at that time. So more 3D element. So I think that e-learning and Moodle and everything could go down that road. Perhaps, not sure, maybe we need better hardware, which comes down to small device, large area. Right, one I think I'm going to put a webcam on for this to explain that headache. Okay, we've all got mobiles and everything is getting really, really small, compressed. Oh, we're getting smaller, smaller. So, but we don't live like that. We live in a big, wide world, and things are getting still the same size. So we could tick away like that, but that's not how we want to learn. Maybe we want something that's small, which then expands in a 3D way from when we're learning, and then compresses down again for transportability, if you were, be able to move us around. So out in sticks, or we were learning with a lady I sort of communicating with. They are the iMoot Dana is going to be doing taking Raspberry Pi to Peru. Sounds really good. So similar things. So I think somehow device or learning, we need to be able to have that small device, have it expand, maybe have a 3D hologram or something. You tap, you learn in a big expanse, and you look in different places, and this is how I learn, blah, blah, blah. And then when you turn it off, it all compresses back down. I think something like that, that's where we need to be going. Not sure how that would work, but in reality, but I think that would be a really great way of learning rather than this tap, 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 tap. Press the ball there. Right. References. So that's the that one there is the themes forum. Download all the themes from there. I will put more links in the course. There's links to Moodle Bites, and I mentioned earlier, if you want to try out things and you're scared and you can't get access to a Moodle server, a couple of years back at iMoot, I think 2014, crumbs was that long ago, I did a good presentation on there and about installing your own Moodle installation. Actually, I hope I got that right. Which you can then view, download, and it tells you how to install it. And then, Bitnami one's really, really good. And you can just put it on your laptop, on a spare computer, and install it like any other application. Makes it really, really simple. Try out Moodle in a safe environment. All goes wrong, doesn't matter. You just uninstall it. Really good. So you can then install different things, try them out, practice courses. You could develop courses on them and save them as backup files, then move them to your main Moodle without the fear of mucking things up. Really useful. Yeah. Right. Wow. Next one. So, summary. We've learned about free themes and their features and their components. Look at the theme selector box. How course formats are played a part in things, and even though you think, oh, whole thing is screen, look at making simple changes. Thinking about what it is to be a programmer and how you can start being a programmer and get over those initial small hurdle fear bits. Look to the new Moodle Bites course coming up, the future. So use what we've learned or you've learned to look at different themes and features. Try a test server. Do use a theme selector block to compare, contrast. There. So lastly, I'm going to put a poll. So, what is your favourite component? So not theme, because they're very, very specific to a certain site, but what is your best component? I've only got 6 options, so if I do that, if you'd like to tap away, please, and make a choice. Anybody there? Clap again. 2 of 7. Anybody else? One more person left. Who's left? 3, 4, 5, 6. Give a little second. Anybody else want to vote? If not, let me put it in the chat. Wow. Interesting, the first session had what course cards came out top. So we've got awesome bar one, layouts, wow, and flat navigation drawer. That reminds me, those you guys loving the essential theme, in the Moodle 3.3 version, I have put the flat navigation drawer option, or the flat navigation, into essential as an option. So you can use that instead of the block if you want. Well, thanks guys. Really interesting. Yeah, that'll help. So if you haven't got those in the theme that you're using and you really love them, talk to your developer, talk to your admin, get them to put them in there, get them to copy the code. All my code's open source, so don't mind, copy it, use it. It's all great, it's all about learning. So brilliant. That's really useful for us. So if you've got any questions or answers, please do put them in the chat. Thank you very much for coming along and attending and feedback, and there's just a little bit, that's a website, and you can contact me via about.me, J Barnard there. Thanks guys.
Gareth, let me just quickly jump in and say thank you for that presentation. That was packed full of all sorts of goodies.
Thank you.
I think everyone has something to take away from that one. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Shane. Right, Chrissy has asked, do you have other ideas about breaking apart admin menus? Good question. Pragmatically, I thought about, how can I break this apart? I started looking at the core navigation application programming interface, and I went, it's a nightmare. So yeah, I've got ideas, but I want to learn that, but it's really quite difficult from a programming perspective to pull apart. So I read the documentation, got a bit confused. So I think I'm going to have to look at how the navigation block works in order to figure out how Moodle actually works internally in order to do that. I thought of doing something like for Shoelace to break away the navigation and stuff, a little bit like how Snap has done. So yes, I do, but not necessarily ideas, but I almost want to learn how to technically do it. That's coming back to my A to B slide of breaking down the problem. So I then think, that's how I'll do it, and then I can then implement an idea. So I really hope that's answered your question. Celine asks, what things seems to be best used on both desktop and mobile devices? Oh, good question. I think pragmatically I'm too close to things. That the Moodle mobile app is moving along, which is different, and almost you want to try it out for yourself. That a lot of things are now responsive, and a lot are now starting to move and reduce the clutter. I saw a really good presentation yesterday. I've unfortunately got the name on top of my head. On the iMoot, we'll have a look from a gentleman there who's talking about mobile themes and responsive things and what they've done to reduce the clutter on the screen, and that's really great to watch. And they just modified the existing theme. So I think it's a matter of trying it out for yourself. Coming back, you can run those test servers on laptop. You can make it have an IP address which is your mobile phone can see. That's possible. So almost my recommendation to that is to try it out for yourself. See which one you like and why, and what you think suits you. But definitely go for a responsive one. But I think all of them are responsive. And by responsive means that they will contract and fit on smaller devices. So I hope that answers the question. Yes, thanks, Shane. Brilliant. Yeah, it was really good. A real pragmatic way. They took a very good way of looking at things and a thought about the whole user experience. Yeah, really worth watching, guys.